Well, hello and welcome to the bedroom of the dollhouse for another reading from The Secret Language of Birthdays by Gary Goldschneider and Joost Elfers for October 19th, the day of the projector. Near the top of the page is a visual representation, if you like, of the day of the projector. Well, we have us an image of, what is it? Oh, it's a bell with another bell as the clapper. I don't know if that's an adequate representation of the day of the projector. Who's to say? Maybe we'll figure that out as we get on with the read and make some kind of correlation, but it's not altogether important. No, what's important is it's October 19th and it's someone's birthday today. Yeah, so I just want to wish you a happy birthday if today's your birthday. But if this video finds you late, I don't know, a couple days, weeks, months, I just hope you had a happy birthday. That's what's important here. Wishing you a happy birthday. But for everyone else who's joining us randomly, or more ideally to celebrate the October 19th birthday, I just want to say hello, welcome, and I hope you enjoy yourself. Now, before we dive in with the redirect, something like do around these here parts, this is the DykASSt, a birthday broadcast, so we need to live up to the namesake, that's right, and roll some dice. But we don't just roll dice to live up to the namesake, no. We do it for synchronicity's sake, that's right. We rolled us a 5 and a 2 for 7. Now, what's synchronicity, you may be wondering? Well, it's just you getting out into the world and letting the universe show you is with you on your path. And you do that by looking out for your numbers, and when you see them, chasing them down with the hunger. That's right, a bunch of zeal, if you like. Now, a lot of that might not mean anything to you, but that's just to say, like, well, maybe take some of your own dice there and you roll your own daily number if you want. You don't have to go with what I rolled for you. The intention's there, but it's what do you call like a waypost for you, something that you and the universe agree upon that's going to show you the way. And so what you do is you get out there in the world and maybe you start off in a direction. That's right. Ascribe a directional values to number sets there. North, south, east, west. Figure out a direction, go in there, roll another number for your minutes, how long you're going to walk in that direction. When you reach the end of that time limit in that direction, you stop, compose yourself, and you look for your signs, for your numbers there. And the universe, a lot of times, will throw those right out at you, right? Your 5 or your 2 or your 7. Maybe the bus rolls up and it's the number 7. Well, jump on there. Maybe you have perfect change in your pocket to ride the line. And oftentimes you don't even carry coins, right? Maybe you don't even ever ride the bus, but hey, this thing's just screaming at you to go that way. But sometimes it's not even numbers. Sometimes it's just anomalous things that stand out. Maybe you see somebody with a hockey jersey on and everybody else is wearing tank tops, but hey, maybe it's even got the number 25 on it. Those are your numbers. Hey, so maybe just follow that person. Roll your dice to figure out how long to follow them, and that'll give you enough time to put some distance between the two of you so it doesn't look like you're stalking them. And who's to say, maybe by the end of that time limit you find yourself in front of a building with 25 in the address. And what is it? Maybe it's a bell shop. That's right. Hey, the universe sometimes works with themes. It lines things up for you. Or maybe you'll just see, I don't know, alligators all over the place. Little pictures of Lacoste, T-shirts or logos. It could be anything. You just got to be eagle-eyed and looking out for things. And you might see a theme. In any event, it's just to let the universe show you it's with you on your path. So you can see and feel the magic. Because a lot of times in this life, we aren't looking for that kind of thing. So yeah, any event, hey, let's get on with the birthday read, all right? Enough of me droning on about synchronicity. But I'm just trying to make it fun for you, so let's get to it. Your month is October, your day the 19th, your sign is 24 to 27 degrees Libra of the Libra Scorpio Cusp. That's right, the first day of the Libra Scorpio Cusp. How about that? And your quality and element is Cardinal there. All right, let's dive in. October 19th, the day of the projector. Those born on October 19th are independent, spirited, and outspoken people who bring liveliness to their surroundings. They are, however, highly opinionated and stubborn in their approach to life. And because of their conscientious nature, they do not only love to partake in competition, but also, unfortunately, bring strife and conflict wherever they go. So it was more aptly the word contentious, not conscientious. I need to put my glasses on. They're contentious nature, conflict wherever they go. A constant theme in their life is revealing hidden truths, and therefore they have a great dislike for ulterior motives, subtle emotional manipulations, and punishments through silence. And they tend to be explosive when angry, but after the storm has passed, they generally do not hold grudges and are open to reconciliations. And perhaps the driving force behind their provocative nature is their desire, as mentioned above, to bring things to light, or better yet, shine the light of truth on the object of their interest. Less highly evolved individuals born on October 19th can be terribly afraid of having the truth about themselves exposed. And in this respect, they can grow very defensive, even paranoid in their compulsion to hide from public scrutiny. They can, however, develop themselves by gradually dropping these defenses until at a moment of personal triumph, they stand fully revealed without fear and without shame. And much like someone afraid of heights who finally manages to scale the highest peak, in this respect their triumph over shyness or introversion would be much greater than for the average person. Another possibility for October 19th people is to drop out of sight, better themselves and their skills, and then reemerge more successful than before. The only danger here is that while cloistered, they may stagnate or get involved in a lifestyle or family situation where they, in fact, never reemerge at all. And October 19th people generally make good friends and faithful family members, but because they are free-spirited, may resent attempts to tie them down. And indeed, they can become rebellious if pushed to commit themselves. And they can also become extremely critical of those close to them. And sometimes their harsh words wound far deeper than they imagine, since their opinions carry great weight. On October 19th, people must make an effort to break down their defensive reactions, particularly regarding their motives and actions. And they must also avoid possessiveness over loved ones, for example, demanding that their status be best friend and not just good friend, accepting a secondary position or a supporting role on occasion, even coming to enjoy it, is a great step in the spiritual development of those born on this day. Well, I say, despite me fumbling through there a little bit, this was quite the interesting birthday, in my opinion. Had a lot of little dynamics in there. They shook things up for you and kept it interesting. But let's see what I had to say about October 19th. Provide a little bit of a commentary, if you like, here. So let's dive in with the notes here. Independent, spirited, and outspoken people who bring liveliness to their environment, but apparently highly opinionated and stubborn in their approach to life, to the extent such a contentious nature, as the reading calls it, not what I called it, conscientious, may also bring the likes of strife and conflict wherever they may go. But at least it's lively, right? Albeit the interpretation of the word lively might have a connotation we weren't expecting going into this, all right? Contentious-like kind of thing. All right. That being said, revealing hidden truths is what the reading claims is the theme of this day. And it lends a great dislike for ulterior motives, manipulation, and the silent treatment, which smacks of a frustrating relationship to me. I don't know about you. I don't know, maybe you've got bosses who will give you the silent treatment. It doesn't seem right, but very productive anyhow, but maybe that's the case. But with this romantic relationship aspect, the likes of which I'd assume reveals the hidden truths behind such artifices, is apt to be truths one doesn't necessarily want to know, as much as they may want to know them, right? If you catch my meaning. Might cause even more pain if you didn't catch my meaning. But I understand the drive for truth, right? Even if not as dramatically as maybe you do, since it's mentioned in your birthday here. Interestingly, the reading also turns this dynamic on the October 19th, lesser evolved individual who apparently has truths to hide. And it correlates the reactions to such truths being exposed, the likes of which I would argue are equally present when it comes to those trying to expose the truth. To say paranoia and defensiveness specifically. But I like that they suggest how one can overcome this by dropping defenses and revealing themselves, right, without shame, as a person afraid of heights might be like climbing a mountain. They threw a little metaphor in there, or analogy perhaps, or what I call voluntary dissonance. That's right, doing something we don't want to by virtue of the fact we don't want to do it. You get out there and do it anyway because you don't want to do it. Also interesting is the danger of retreating to improve oneself but never emerging because, well, life happens. To which I'd argue isn't necessarily something to beware of, but you apparently have to make faithful friends and family members, right? But your free spirit and can breed rebelliousness if you're constrained. Something to be mindful of. Sometimes we don't realize as much until we hear it that 100th time or whatever, in some other context that makes it make sense to us. Any event, reconciling such things suggests spiritual development, and I don't think you can shake a stick at that, no matter how hard you try. But I don't know if you took anything from this, but I did, all right? And it isn't even my birthday, so I hope you found it helpful. The ideas, they actually came to me at a time when I really needed them, so I hope they did for you as well. Any event, that's been the birthday breakdown, what I had to say about it, so let's dive in with your numbers and your planets. All right, let's get into it. Those born on the 19th of the month are ruled by the number 1, as 1 plus 9 equals 10, and 1 plus 0 equals 1. And by the sun, and because October 19th people are born on the first day of the Libra Scorpio cusp, which is strongly influenced by both Venus, which is Libra's ruler, and Pluto, which is Scorpio's ruler, there is inevitably a strong sexual dynamic in their lives, as well as a tendency to become possessive and controlling in relationships. Those ruled by the number 1 tend to be ambitious and dislike restraint and demand first position, whatever that means. All right, what I have to say about your numbers and your planets. First position there. All right. The number 1 and the sun. Was it the sun? I thought it was. Okay. Just wanted to make sure. As well as Venus, Pluto, co-rulership there, for a strong sexual dynamic in a penchant for possessive and a controlling nature in relationships, apparently. Is that true? Be honest. All right. Sometimes we don't want to be, right? Only you can know if that's true, but if you don't think it is, maybe take a moment, step outside yourself, and objectively consider as much. Still not saying you are, but self-awareness is the name of the game, right? You can't shake a stick at it, right? Or maybe that was mindfulness. I don't remember already. They're kind of the same, right? Any event, examination and mindfulness in any regard is useful, I would argue, to that end. And maybe such ideas are exactly what you need to hear to help you realize other realities and perhaps that you weren't aware of. Who's to say? Maybe you were and you just don't want to be. Or maybe you're already on that path and this is just all redundant. Who's to say? But in any event, that's been your numbers and planets, so let's dive in with your tarot. That's right, the tarot. It's one of the more eclectic of the New Age metaphysical philosophies for some of us, like me. I don't know about you. Maybe you're all into it. But if you're not, let's dive in. We don't need to take it home with us and start dealing out cards to make every life's decision. But it's your birthday, so let's have some fun, see what it has to say. The 19th card of the major arcana is the sun. Ooh, another sun. It can be considered the most favorable of all the major arcana cards, symbolizing knowledge, vitality, and good fortune. And due to both their number and tarot card, October 19th people are granted strong sun influences. It must be noted, however, that misusing such power can bring disastrous results. That's right. I know you was thinking something else, but disastrous results. And since October 19th, people are already so caught up in the controlling aspects of relationships, they must beware of promoting false values, easy promises, and superficialities of all types. All right, they highly personalize this tarot one for you. They don't often do that. They even personalize the numbers and planets. They do that one more often, but sometimes they don't. And even what I have to say about your tarot here, the co-sun dynamics. I think I've seen it one other time, but I may be wrong. Maybe more than that. It's rare, is what I'm trying to say. The card and the planet, or it's a star more properly, but the most favorable of all cards apparently versus the most hyper-focused planet, which is interesting as I'd assume a sun rulership would be the most difficult to fight / resist. And I say that because in a lot of other cases, when you talk about sun rulership, those days they tend to take one facet and they just hyper drill down on it. It's like that's the only thing that day concerns, but they attack it from a variety of different angles. Yours, I suppose they did that a little bit, but it did seem to go in a variety of different directions, concern a variety of different things. So a little bit torn on that one. This one wasn't as obvious a sun rulership as a lot of those other sun rulership days. But the card symbolizes knowledge, vitality, and good fortune. All right. But considering those strong sun influences I mentioned, they also highly personalize this tarot entry to convey the dangers, specifically with relationships. So maybe be mindful of all that. All right. That's been your tarot. Let's dive in with your health. All right. Those born on October 19th must be careful of acquiring injuries due to their competitive nature. That's right. Not their conscientiousness, or not conscientious, contentiousness rather, can arouse hostility in others, which ultimately may prove dangerous to them, not only in physical but also psychical terms. Those born on this day are very vibrational, easily disturbed by a nasty look or an unkind word. Their threshold for nervous irritation is low, causing them to react sensitively to things around them, and thus allergies may prove to be a problem. October 19 diets should be carefully controlled, particularly in regard to dairy, fats, and sweets. Competitively oriented, even contact sports may be attractive to October 19 people, but walking and swimming are more appropriate for those no longer young. On October 19, women must beware of bladder infections and men of prostate problems. All right. Quite the thorough health breakdown. Sometimes they go just as long, but they don't say nearly as much. All right, what I have to say though. Show care for yourself as you may be more accident prone thanks to your competitive nature compared to others anyhow. Part and parcel, I'd say, with that kind of thing. But hey, still something to be mindful of. Also, in the cyclical way terms, I don't know quite what that PSYCH psychic kind of sounds like cyclical, and I messed up conscientious with contentious, but I was saying this one. I think I was saying it right. Any event, on account of hostility from others. That's why I need to be mindful of the psychical. It also says you're irritable and highly vibrational. I think that's the first time they've ever said that or written that term in the book. So that's a new one for you. Highly personalized. What else we got here? And it's out of left field. This sensitivity might apply to allergies as well. That's the first time again, too. Further warning of diets, sports alternatives, and bladder and prostate warnings. They've warned of bladder before, especially with Libras concerning the kidneys being a sensitive body area. But prostate, I think, is a first. It's also highly personal. Oh, I already said that. Highly personalized health entry. Prostate's a new one. All right, there's the notes for your health. Let's move on to some advice. All right, learn the value of silence. Occasionally let your actions speak for themselves. Balance your desire to be independent with your need for companionship. And don't assume that people will always forgive you. I will say that has some value to it, if I'm being honest. The advice usually does, even when it's in and out real quick. Anyway, what did I have to say? What did I had to say rather? I had to write it in the book because I ran out of space on the page. Value in silence. And how, all right? A certain dictator would actually wait for everyone to quiet down, and I'm talking like a stadium full of people, and it had to be absolute silence before he would begin his seeming tirade, all right? So there's power in it, there's value in it. That's probably not what they meant, all right? I think they're more trying to get you to listen more than anything, but just be mindful, there's power in silence. But there's two values there for you, all right? And values of silence. And let your actions speak for you. I'd say there's three values in silence, right? You don't have to make noise making actions, right? What else do we have here? Balance, desire to be dependent, and need for companionship, all right? I'm emphasizing the use of those words because there's a difference between need and want. Something to consider. And don't assume people will forgive you. That's interesting. I don't necessarily know why they decided to put that in the advice for you. Maybe I just missed some connotation there in the reading. But again, let those actions speak for yourself. Such a great birthday read I wrote here. Hope it's as huge for you as it was for me. Remember those who retreat and don't come back. Finding life going on for them. What else do I have to say here? As it tends to go these days, I find great usually don't get many. I find that a lot of the great birthday reads don't get a lot of views. So if you made it this far and you watched this thing, hey, I hope you got some value out of it. Anyway, I thought it was worth it. So, and I don't say that all the time. I probably should say more often, but in any event, hey, let's move on to your meditation. That's right, your meditation. To a person chained in a cave, the shadows on the wall are reality. All right. Hey, that smacks of Plato, rather. Hey, Pluto's a co-rulership. That works. Once again, to a person chained in a cave, the shadows on the wall are reality. All right. That's your meditation. It's your birthday. I'm not going to try to throw some spin on it for you. I probably influenced it enough by saying it was a Plato thing. And normally I can't make hide nor hair of where they get the meditations. This is maybe one of the first ones I've done that. But again, I don't want to influence it too much for you. It's your birthday. It's your meditation. All right, but that's your meditation in the can, as it were. So let's move on to your strengths and your weaknesses. That's right. Let's do the work. All right, your strengths. You're insistent, you're independent, and you're lively. All right. Hey, you know what? Those actually sound like weaknesses depending upon the context. That's interesting. But your weaknesses, oh, let's go with this one. Sometimes the weaknesses sound like positive also depending upon the context. Let's see what it has to say. Your weaknesses. Argumentative, you're disturbing, and you're possessive. Disturbing. Well, I didn't really get that. Anyway, argumentative. I guess that works great if you're a debater. And possessive. Hey, if you accumulate a lot of things, that's not a bad thing. If you're a collector, but I don't think that's what they mean. And those are your strengths and weaknesses. By any measure, you can work on all of that or bring any of them down. I don't know if you don't want to work on things that you're strong in. Any event. You get the point. That's your strengths and your weaknesses. Let's move on to those born on this day. And when we dive in with those born on this day, not only do we get to see who shares your company, but I like to take a moment to examine something I find important, and that is finding your passions. That's right. I get out in the world and meet folks, and a lot of times ask them what they do, and more importantly, if they like it. And a lot of times they don't. And I don't really think you can blame anybody for that, because it's just in this life, you get out of school, you got to get right into a job that doesn't necessarily have anything to do with what you like to do, but you got to get that money, and you got to get the roof over your head and the food on the table, and then you find yourself in a rut. And even on the weekends, you're just trying to decompress before you got to go back. So there's no time to put into work to figure out what your passions are. And even if you do know what your passions are, how to make money at them, make them financially viable. So I think this is a perfect opportunity to not only see who shares your company, but what they did to get their, their stamp on the cultural zeitgeist, if you like, or at least get them in the book. So let's see who shares your company. Those born on this day. All right, we have Auguste Lemour, who was a French chemist, movie camera, projector inventor with his brother Louis. and early film experimenter, it says. We also have Sir Thomas Browne, a British physician and philosopher. John Le Carré, a British spy novelist. The Spy Who Came In From the Cold was the book he probably wrote, or one of. Emil Gilels, a Russian pianist. Evander Holyfield, the only one I think I've said right so far, a world heavyweight boxing champion. Marilyn Bell, a distant swimmer, Lake Ontario, and the English Channel. We also have Peter Tosh, a Jamaican reggae singer and songwriter. We also have Jack Anderson, a syndicated newspaper columnist. Louis Mumford, a city planner, writer of The City in History. Patricia Ireland, a social activist and president of the National Organization of Women Now. Peter Max, a commercial artist and designer. It's a strong name for that job, I'd argue. John Lithgow, film actor. King Mongkut, Siamese king, had 67 children. Talk about prolific, right? Glamorized in Anna, and the King of Siam. We also have Umberto Brocconcini. I always got to throw the accent on it if I can't pronounce it. An Italian futurist painter. We also have Eddie Daniels, a jazz clarinetist. I think that's the first clarinetist they've mentioned. And there's always a jazz musician on every page of the birthday, it seems. Simon Ward, British stage, film, and TV actor. Dave Gerald, or Gerard, maybe? Gerard, I believe. Kingston Trio member. John Profumo, British War Secretary, resigned over Christine Keeler scandal. We also have Vasco Pratolini, an Italian novelist. The Trilogy of an Italian Spy. And we have Benita Valenti, lyric soprano. And I'll say all these names today. There's maybe two I have a feeling I got right. So let's do some butchering on our side of things. It's not done in malice. It's just hooked on phonics. Doesn't work for me with names all that often. Especially these latter days, I got to tell you. But in the event, that's been those born on this day. Hopefully you took some inspiration from some of the other folks who share your company. I know it's a tall ask, a tall order, but hey, that's the aim there. Maybe it gets you to get something loose there, figure something out, regardless of whether it serves as an inspiration. Maybe me mentioning it is the inspiration you need. In the event, that about rounds out your birthday reading, except to say your season is fall. Your sign, once again, is Libra, of the Libra Scorpio cusp, the first day of it, remember. And your quality and element is Cardinal air. Like I said, this was an important day for me, even though it's not my birthday. So I hope you made it this far. A lot of times the ones that I think are of great value, they don't get seen all that often. But hopefully you're here and you've seen it. All right, so this has been October 19th, the day of the projector, from The Secret Language of Birthdays by Gary Goldschneider and Joost Elvers. I have an affiliate link in this book, for this book, down in the description. If you're looking to dive in further, learn more about other birthdays and your zodiac sign, etc. This thing makes a great coffee table book, even if you're not interested in as much, but you want to, say, entertain a party and get the ice broken. It's going to do so in a figurative and a literal fashion, especially if you get the hardcover. That's right. In any event, that's not what's important. What's important here, like I said at the top, is wishing you a happy birthday. So I just want to once again say happy birthday. But for everyone else who joined us to celebrate, ideally, I just want to say I hope you enjoyed yourselves, and I hope to see you for your birthday read. That's right. But lest we forget, your daily numbers. I know I went a little long in the tooth trying to explain it, but hey, that's what it is sometimes. Get out there and let the universe show you it's with you on your side. See and feel the magic, and open yourself up to your more spiritual side if you like. Or just get your steps in at the very least, even if you don't see anything that seems like magic. That's right. At least you're out there getting your steps. And this applies to everybody, whether it's your birthday or you're just coming along randomly. Get on out there. All right. Once again, happy birthday there, October 19th, folks. And everyone else and yourself, take care of yourselves. All right. Happy birthday.